Alright, hey guys. So, I cruise forums a lot. Snake forums. Fauna, king snake, a couple other ones. Mostly fauna and king snake. And I've noticed that the #1 topic, generally, is, you know, help my snake won't eat, or my snake won't eat. I mean, this is one, my hatchling won't eat, please help. And then, this is a yearling ball python that hasn't eaten for 2 months or something like that. So I figured it's about time that I weighed in on this topic. Alright? It's been long overdue. There are a couple reasons why ball pythons, mainly, won't eat. And #1, we're going to go with my hatchling won't eat. This post was basically, you got a hatchling from a breeder that's 2 weeks old according to the breeder, hasn't shed yet, and he's wondering why it won't eat. Well, first, if you have a hatchling, you know, generally within their first week of life they will shed for the first time. And they've just came out of their egg, they absorbed a huge amount of yolk. That yolk can sustain them for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, up to a month. So there's a very good chance that your snake as a hatchling won't take its first meal for at least 2 weeks to a month, and that's completely normal. Now keep in mind, you know, this snake is new to the world. It's got all new sights, all new sounds, all new smells, and it's tiny, you know, it's fish bait. And, you know, you've got something our size opening up its tub or opening up its cage and poking at it or picking it up and handling it, and the only thing going through its mind is it's going to eat me. Everything is going to eat it. So it's probably too scared to eat. You know, when you first get your ball python, if you, especially a hatchling, leave it alone. Put it in its tank, let it get used to its tank for at least a week before you even look at it. That's just, you know, that's one of those things. So hatchlings very often will not eat for 2 weeks to a month, you know. It's normal. You know, obviously monitor, try after a couple weeks, try. And that moves on to the next thing, is a lot of times people try to start hatchlings on the wrong type of prey. You know, they'll see a hatchling ball python and they'll throw a mouse pinky or a rat pinky in there and just expect it to eat it. Well, hatchlings, I've noticed, have a very high movement to strike ratio, like response. They like movement. So oftentimes with my hatchlings, I will start them on either large rat pups that move around a lot, or, you know, just before they're fuzzies, or just before the, you know, before they're too big to eat for the snake, or mouse hoppers. Mouse hoppers elicit a very good strike response in all babies I've ever fed. I've started them. Some of my babies have hatched so big I could start them on small weaned adult mice. And I've had success there too. You know, a lot of times people are like, oh, well, my snake won't eat. And like, it's like, well, what are you starting your snake on? Frozen thawed rat pinkies. Boring. The snake doesn't want to strike at that because it's not moving. And there's a good chance, going back to, you know, the first reason, if you're sitting there trying to make this frozen thawed rat pinky dance with tongs, the snake's looking at you and thinking, that thing is going to eat me. So I start all my babies on live. If you want to swap them over once they're subadults to frozen thawed, by all means. But I start mine on live. I've never had a problem. I've had one snake. I think it's actually the pewter that I kept, that I had to force feed. He just wouldn't eat. I force fed him his first 3 meals, and now he eats like a champion. He takes them all himself. I mean, he doesn't even let me get the tub open before he's trying to strike at food, when he knows there's food present. So, the third reason that they won't eat generally, they're stressed. And going back to, you know, #1, too much handling. Are your temperatures wrong? Does your snake have a hide? Not all snakes need hides. None of mine have ever needed a hide. Because I use the tub systems, and they work just fine, you know, they eat, they don't have problems. But if I had one that wouldn't eat for me, I'd give it a hide box. They like to feel secure. When I first started, I did have a snake that wouldn't eat unless it had a hide box. So I gave it a hide box, and then my trick was I'd take the live rat, or whatever I was feeding him, I think it was live small rats at the time, I'd put it right to the entrance to his hide. As soon as that rat walked into that hide box, it was done for. But if I took the hide away and put the rat down, snake wouldn't even look at the rat, he'd just try to find somewhere to hide. So a lot of times, you know, hide box, wrong, like I said, wrong temperatures, too much handling, too much light. Ball pythons are nocturnal. You know, a lot of people buy tank setups and they get this overhead lighting and they leave it on all the time. Get rid of the light. Under tank heating. They absorb their heat through their bellies. They spend 90% of their time underground or in termite mounds in the wild. That's the situation, you know, that's where they feel comfortable. So all these bright lights and glass walls, they don't like it. And then the number one reason, especially now that we're going to get away from these hatchlings here, is this yearling that wouldn't eat. It's a yearling male ball python, probably ready to breed. They stop eating for months at a time during the breeding season. Females will eat right up until about when they're ready to ovulate. And then just take a look at like my big female that dropped 11 eggs. There were 11 eggs inside of that snake's body. That doesn't leave a lot of room for food. Not to mention when they're pregnant or gravid in the wild, they probably don't want to go out adventuring too much. You know, their instinct kicks in to hunker down, lay low, relax until the eggs are ready to go, you know. So, breeding season is your number one. I had a 1,500 gram male, my first ball python, years ago. Stopped eating for 10 months. Lost maybe 100 grams in body size and body weight. But he didn't look bad, you know. He didn't deflate. He just lost 100 grams. One day I put a rat in there, he nailed it and just went back to eating. 10 months, he just decided he didn't want to eat. You know, and I just kept track of his weight and made sure he wasn't losing too much, and that's what happened. I mean, he went back to eating and he was fine. When I got into breeding, I ended up giving him away because I didn't want a normal male, but that's just what happened. You know, he stopped eating. So those are the main reasons that I notice snakes will stop eating, and honestly, people freak out about that too much. You know, I understand being new to a hobby and new to snakes and new to reptiles, but research, you know, look some stuff up. Do forum searches, you know. You'll see the number one topic tends to be my snake won't eat. You know, what do I do? I mean, there are other reasons. Those are the four most common reasons, but I mean, you know, obviously there's more medical reasons: respiratory infection, parasites. But generally, you'll notice. I mean, you'll have rapid weight loss. The snake will not look happy. There'll be that hissing sound and the mucus if it's a respiratory infection. Or not mucus, the kind of drool if you open its lips or you pull up its gums and there's like a viscous fluid. But, I mean, a normal snake that just stops eating, it happens, you know. Welcome to ball pythons. There's two rules with ball pythons. You can't have just one, and you're gonna start pulling your hair out because they're gonna frustrate the crap out of you. But it's a wonderful hobby, so welcome to it. But I just wanted to get this video out because, like I said, it's about time I address this topic. I see it so often, and I get questions about it too. You know, my snake won't eat. It's like, well, then I tell them, it's like, well, you know, what is it? And they're like, oh, it's a 700 gram male yellow belly, and I'm like, that's completely normal. It's breeding season. It's not gonna eat. So, alright, before I keep rambling, I'm going to cut this short since it's a pretty long video. So, if you have any questions, just send me a message. I'll answer them as fast as I can. It's what I do. Out.